right? How did being a walk-on view my lens on football? Probably dramatically. I think I've always been like a lot of your listeners, if you to archetype who we are, personality wise, we might fall into the walk-on personality, right? Chip on the shoulder, strong belief in ourselves, only seeking an opportunity and a chance. I'd say I'm the same way now as a broadcaster, or as, a parent, or like when I met my wife, I was like, just give me one date, I'll turn it into a lifetime. Same thing as a walk-on. I was like, give me one rep and I'll turn it into a career and you'll put me on scholarship. And that's basically what happened. I think the way that my walk-on experience began was perfect for a walk-on. Here's how it went. I walked into the locker room. I had gone to school in the summer. So summer bridge was basically what I did at Pitt. And in the year 2000, that summer bridge wasn't a thing. I just went in and I was like, I need to get here early. I need to get a leg up on the other receiver coming in who was on scholarship. I need to just assimilate to college football. I was extremely driven to prove that I could be a Power 5 D1 player. I got there early, had a good summer, and then when actual camp started, I went to the locker room and looked for my locker and couldn't find it. And I went to the equipment manager and I was like, hey, I looked in the 80s, I looked in the 30s, I looked in the single digits, I can't find my locker. And he goes, well, what's your name? And I was like, okay, interesting. That's interesting, right? He's not saying that to many other players. But okay, I said, my name is Yogi Roth. And he looked and he kept flipping his pages on his, I'll never forget it. He had this like kind of binder and he's flipping through it and he goes to the last page and he goes, oh, Roth. Yeah, you're locker 106. And I had played football at the time for a handful of years and I never saw anybody wearing the jersey 106. So I went to locker 106, which was deep in the hood, like way deep in the corner. And I saw a D lineman's face mask. I saw cleats that were 2 sizes too big. I saw a girdle with pads that were too big. And at that exact moment, I can remember saying like, okay, I'm going to be in a relentless pursuit of a competitive edge. Like, bring it. Like, this is as fun as it gets. And I really accepted and embraced the realities around being a walk-on, which basically meant that like you weren't going to be anybody's priority. In fact, the coaches wanted to prove that they were right in their evaluation of the other players they brought in on scholarship. So I just embraced that early on versus tried to fight it and embraced the idea of like, hey, I'll turn one opportunity into 2, into 3, into 10, into starting, into a scholarship, into a career. And that's how I view life, man. Like, I think the only negative of my lens on life from being a walk-on was that I was always out to prove other people wrong when I was a player, which sucked the joy out of my career. I try to advise players now, especially in a world of social media where you're like, beat the haters. My whole thing is like, prove yourself right and embrace the fun along the way versus, welcoming a fight along the way. And I was too combative with my own self as a walk-on. So that's the one thing I would have shifted. But ultimately, I view everything through the lens of living like a walk-on, realistically as a football player, but also in my day-to-day life.